Now I'll talk about some theories of knowledge in textbooks which emerge to us from various kinds of analysis based on textbooks. McGilchrist has foregrounded some fine-grained linguistic analysis of some studies that show how writing in various disciplines, writings of textbooks in various disciplines, construe particular epistemologies. By that we mean different ways of constructing knowledge and transferring knowledge to the people who read those books. For this purpose, systematic functional linguistics may be very useful. Simultaneously, multimodal discourse analysis, through which we can not only analyze the written text, but we can also analyze various pictures and other aspects which are embedded with the text. Systematic functional linguistics can highlight the role of naturalization, nominalization, authorial voice, and cause and effect relationships in the history books, and we can see that in some of the studies cited in front of you. And they can also explore a range of genres in medicines and other sciences also. So this kind of functional analysis or multimodal analysis can be helpful in identifying various aspects of various ideological aspects of textbooks, including naturalization of certain historical events, by making them look like natural as something which has to happen, instead of allowing us to peep deeply into those events and evaluating them critically, and maybe making some people responsible for those events. These textbooks make us or present those events to us in a naturalized manner in which they look as something which is very normal. Multimodal meaning making practices have been explored in various textbooks, including the subjects of history, math, the sciences, and English as a foreign language. And we have reached various conclusions about it. Against this background, explicitly, critical analysis have taken particular issue with the language of history education. And this history, one of the dominant features of this language is that it believes in naturalizing some critical historical events. In the analysis of grammatical metaphor, for example, and transitivity in a history textbook in Columbia, Moss found that a deterministic view of history has been presented, which precludes, simply which prohibits any possibility of change as a result of human intervention. It presents history as something which was supposed to happen in that way, and therefore it provides a safe haven or safe ground for certain critical events and certain important figures in the history of a nation. Martin Matten and Montgolio has also explored the function of isms, colonialism, nationalism, and socialism in history books, and they argued that when it comes to these isms in educational settings, both epistemology, that includes definitions and their oppositions, various views about a certain concept, and axiology, values and attitudes related to those concepts, they both become very important, and they both are promoted or prohibited in textbooks in order to generate or promote certain ideology. Adopting right values, what has been projected in a textbook, seems to be the only option for young generation in order to be declared as good people, and in order to avoid to be declared as bad people. That's one of the framing these textbooks do. In another study, we see how contemporary textbooks engage with Allende's socialist government in Chile and the military coup in 1973 that led to Pinochet's dictatorship. And the projection of this coup in various textbooks of history make this coup as something which has to happen, something as very natural, and do not allow the reader to reflect on the devastating effects on the constitutional history of the country, as well as other socio-political norms of the country. And therefore, by naturalizing history and describing events as if things just happened, imply that the coup was a necessary solution to the problems in the society of that time. Overall, the textbooks also produce a conciliatory discourse which emphasize on consensus and social stability by attempting to produce some kind of agreed upon discourse in the society, or projecting some kind of such discourse as it has been agreed upon by the vast majority of the people. These analyses foreground not only the content of how politics are presented, but also the epistemological issue of how disciplinary discourses construct particular ways of knowing as legitimate and others as illegitimate also. For history textbooks, usually the way which has been used to legitimize or illegitimize things can be the ways of conceptualizing time, how certain event in a time presented, and time is foregrounded in a way that that event seems very natural. And causation, subtle forms of evaluation, how that is evaluated. It is evaluated from a perspective which looks very glorified as compared to other perspectives which can question those events. So there could be multiple ways in which the point of views in various textbooks can be presented as some dominant perspectives, and they can be discriminating in certain ways. So the writers of textbooks may be cautious about it, and those who analyze these textbooks from a critical discourse perspective should always be mindful of such hidden agendas behind these textbooks.